Alright guys, I need you to pay very close attention. I might have the social skills of Rain Man, but unfortunately I'm nowhere near as good as math. Happily, you guys are here to spot me as I kind of stumble my way through the numbers. Now, the first mistake, last month, I ended the month with $32. A bunch of you guys pointed that out. Thank you, because I never would have. Go back and watch last month's video if you want to try to figure out where I made the mistake. But I am at $32 to start the month. And then I sold a bunch of stuff to kind of jumpstart us in the month. First and foremost, kind of on a negative note, N64 collection is gone. They just were not fitting in on the bookshelf. Everything was in cases, everything was disc-based. And these are two very common games I will find again instantly. Neither of them I would call mint condition, so they're both pretty replaceable. But they do both add a bunch of money. Subtracting $2.50 from every item for shipping, Mario Kart 64 will get us $45. Mario 64 will get us $25. Mario Strikers from last week will get us $10. And also from last week, Mortal Kombat will get us $5 for a grand total of this number right here, because I can't do the math in my head. Spoiler alert, I will need every dollar of this virtually because this is a ridiculous month. Enjoy the finds, and let's hop into it. And game hunting continues to show just how unpredictable it is. After 2 months of explosive game hunting on OfferUp has returned in a big way. Happily, I was at the barber shop on a Monday afternoon. This lot popped up. I don't think it was even in the video games. I think it was in the toys. Always check games and toys on OfferUp or even Craigslist. Stuff like this shows up from time to time. $45. The seller met me while I was eating dinner, and everything went according to plan. Let's jump into the pickup recap, and I'll show you all the stuff in detail. A fantastic find. Alright, good morning, YouTube. Regardless if it's morning or not, it's morning time. Good morning. OfferUp, after making fun of it for the entire month of January, saying how bad it was, unreliable, someone came through kind of in a perfect way. He did everything correct as a seller, and I was very happy, and it kind of reignited my passion for OfferUp. I'm glad I did not give up on it after the last 2 months, especially in December. It was pretty bad as well. This guy posted an item. You guys saw it, the screenshot already. I contacted him pretty much immediately within an hour of him posting it, and he drove to me. He not only brought everything that was in the photo, he brought an extra additional game, and he sold everything for $45, which is a great deal. So props to him. OfferUp does this kind of rating system comparable to like eBay. So it's kind of like Craigslist, but with eBay ratings. So I'll be sure to give him 5 stars. He did an awesome job. Props to that guy. And this is kind of the positive side of OfferUp. $45 cash. We'll start off with the big ticket item, SNES Mini. Not sure what the model number is or what the serial number is. I think it's 101. Okay. And this is kind of the later edition. Very light. It's just a Super Nintendo. It obviously has more valuable, but this came out a bit later and just as practical. I mean, nothing sticks out really to me. It's just it's firmer, if that makes sense. The original Super Nintendo kind of felt loose and wobbly when you moved it around. This feels very solid, very sturdy, and a very valuable system. Probably a $100 system, just with its cords and stuff. The cords all came rubber banded, not just a big clusterfuck, which was really nice. Good to go. And I didn't check these. Let's see here. It is first party Nintendo AV, so these are always good idea to keep an eye out for. Typically you see more and more of the Chinese kind of off the back truck version of these, so it's nice to see an actual first party. And then another really nice thing, 2 first party controllers, again rubber banded and both in really nice condition, so could not be more happy. I definitely would have paid $45 for this system alone, but the deal gets better. Starting off with probably the best game of the lot, Super Mario World. Only a matter of time before I found this. It pretty much came with every Super Nintendo on Earth. So if you find a Super Nintendo lot, this game's almost guaranteed to be in there. That being said, it still goes for $15 to $20. So if you find another copy, it's a nice resell. I don't own a copy, so I'll be keeping this, of course, with the system. Speedy Gonzales game. I owned this before, but I never played it. It's just been on my bookshelf with my last collection for years. The Goof Troop, which was a pretty decent Disney movie, actually. I remember watching it. It definitely inspired a generation of furries, just like Lola Bunny in Space Jam. But it was kind of fun. I remember him like hijacking the stage at the end and singing the little pop song. It was a fun Disney movie, honestly. I never played the game, but pretty good movie. I don't remember Extremely Goofy Movie being very good, but I remember the first one being decent. Williams Arcade Hits, a compilation of different arcade games from Williams, whom I have no idea about. Joust, Defender, it looks like 4 or 5 games. These compilation things are kind of cool if you feel like playing an old arcade game. They're definitely good to have on your bookshelves. All Real Monsters, classic 90s Nick. Anyone my generation has watched this show, along with, you know, Disney Channel and Nick were the two go-to channels, and then sometimes Fox had good shows on like Saturday morning. But Nickelodeon, late 90s, early 2000s was just absolute the GOAT. They could still kind of get away with some stuff that we can't get away with now, especially the show Ren and Stimpy got away with murder. That show was so adult, it was funny. And then Super Star Wars. I've owned Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, but I've never owned this first one. I don't know if it's less common or if that's just been random, but I remember Empire Strikes Back was a pretty fun, like 2D hack and slash game. And then I remember Return of the Jedi was difficult. I remember trying to jump from one island to another on like a land speeder, and it was hard. I've never played this one though, assuming this one came out first. Obviously, the movie did. And then getting into another Goodwill find, just like last week. Same thing as last week, in fact, just a different color. On my way home I got it, but I paid all $3 this time for a first party Xbox controller. So now I have 2 of these. This is another mini one, and this one's also in great shape, and this one's probably a little bit more rare. It's the transparent blue color, but it is first party. It's not a Mad Catz or anything. So when I do find an original Xbox, I'm good to go. I have 2 great first party controllers now that'll be on the bottom of the bookshelf. Again, I'm not selling it, but if I would, I probably could get close to 20 bucks for it. Again, it does have the, whatever we want to call this, the stupid thing that's pointless, that gets lost constantly. Someone in the comments section that knows more about video games than me, please let me know what the point of this was, this adapter. I don't know if it was for an extension cord, so you can make the controller longer. I don't know what the point was. It's totally retarded though, and then kids in 2001 always lost these. So when you see these controllers at Goodwill or at yard sales, they're always missing it, and to me they're just pretty much worthless if they're missing it. So all this in one day, and it was a Monday afternoon. So all this on a Monday afternoon, a really, really good start to the month. I don't know as far as resell. I'll probably go back to the bookshelf like I did earlier to resell something from a previous find. I kind of want to keep all this stuff as a Super Nintendo collection, and I definitely want to keep this system because this does not show up. I found 2 of these in like 3 years with my first collection, so these don't show up that often. I definitely want to keep this at the bottom of the shelf as my first kind of system in the collection. So let's get back out there and let's get the garage sales cranking out, I hope. We'll see what happens. So after kind of making fun of OfferUp in December and especially January, it's coming through kind of ridiculous, almost too fast in the month of February. Heading to deals 2 and 3 right now, and it's the first week of February. So if these 2 deals go through, I mean, I've already set up the meeting and stuff, so they should. I'm already going to be off to like the best month so far for this new series. So I'm heading to the mall to get one, and then I'm going to head to the guy's house for the other. I'll let you guys know what happens. Can't talk on the phone too much now because it's against the law where I live to have your phone even in your hand. I guess it's smart. We'll call it smart. So I'll show you guys what I get in a second. So I got the first deal. I'll show you guys the listing when I do the pickup video in a minute, but basically it's 2 really nice GameCube games. I offered her $30. The original posting was for $45. She worded it bizarrely, like buy Mario and get this other game for free. Wario is actually the reason I did the lot, because I don't have it and I don't own it, and I never have owned it. So I know I'll get a bunch of money back for Mario. Shout out to Dreamcast guy. He mentioned how hard GameCube games are to find nowadays, and they really are. I've had an insanely lucky, like, 6 months as an emergency vehicle flies by over here. And, I mean, this is going to be like the 7th GameCube game that I'm adding to the collection, and besides Mickey Mouse, they're all, like, good titles. So, I've gotten lucky. Dreamcast guy is right, though. The system itself is pretty hard to hunt for. I've just gotten really lucky. So, I'm going to get this other lot of games. $20 for, I think, 6 PlayStation 2 games. I will cut to the pickup recap right now, and I'll show you guys everything I got, and hopefully I'll take these stupid labels off. They're really pissing me off, to be honest. I'll show you guys in a minute, but I hate them. What is going on, YouTube? Let's get back into February finds, and OfferUp has been out of this realm. Goodwill and yard sales have kind of fallen by the wayside, but OfferUp is kind of carrying us through the winter. It's been like 10 days, 3 really good finds, I'd consider them. They're not extremely exciting, but 3 good finds for sure. And we're going to have to keep selling stuff, which is kind of the downside of getting items. Let's jump into the first find. The initial posting, I'll show you guys here, was for 2 GameCube games for $45. Actually a decent deal at $45, but outside of eBay, I would not pay that for games. So I offered her $30 and she accepted instantly. I probably should have tried 20 first, but she accepted the 30. Drove to the mall nearby to meet her and was very pleased with the 2 games. We'll start off with the one I'll be keeping. Wario World. Honest to God, never played this game or even heard of it really. Has some value. And it was not in my last GameCube collection, which is kind of novelty to me because most games were. Most valuable GameCube games were in my last collection. So it's cool to see a valuable game that was not. Condition of the disc, exquisite, fantastic. Like new, in fact, I don't even see a blemish on it. Instruction booklet, great. There's even the inserts in the back. I don't care too much about them. Case, awful. I'm going to go have a holocaust of these stupid game stores in the late 90s, early 2000s that decided to put stickers just all over everything. I don't know if it was GameStop or EB Games. I can't tell, honestly. 2005 is when they had this used. I know Fanta made out like a bandit at GameStop with these GameCube games. They just kind of were giving them away. I'd say about 5 years ago, and Fanta went and picked up games like this for like $1 or $2 at GameStop. Condition's great. These things are annoying. Some nice game stores just simply put them inside the plastic down the ridge. They just open it up and then they'll put their sticker inside without actually sticking it to anything. That's nice. This sucks, so I'm going to have to Google on this before this goes on the bookshelf. Or I might have a GameCube case sitting around. I've talked a lot about buying shitty games you have no interest in when they're very, very cheap so that you have cases later, especially with GameCube, because GameCube has a very specifically designed case with the memory slot and then obviously the small disc and then even the timestamp trademark thing here that says GameCube. So if you see like a Madden 99 and they want like $0.25 for it, pick it up. I mean, obviously the game's worthless, but the case itself will come in handy later. Like if I had that right now, this game, which is in good condition, would go right in it. And then kind of the super valuable game of the lot, my second copy of this, a Paper Mario 1000-Year Door. I call it 10,000-Year Door all the time, probably because of that shitty movie called 10,000 BC, which was not exactly historically accurate. Once again, stickers all over the case. Instruction booklet is great. like new. Disc, not quite as good as Wario, but very few problems, very few issues. Close to mint. Very close to mint condition. For comparison, this is the copy I already had on the bookshelf. I will be keeping this case and Frankensteining out the disc. This disc is nowhere near as good a condition. We got this game for $5 with other games. This was the first find of the channel. So I'll be keeping this case, and I'll probably be putting the instruction booklet and the disc inside of it for a mint condition copy. In fact, let's just do that right now. So now I have a fantastic condition copy. This will be going on the bookshelf. And this will be popping onto eBay, anticipating anywhere between $40 to $50. The disc is good. It's just not mint by any means. So I'll be shooting for 40 to 50 bucks. I need to sell this immediately because we are running out of money again. So jumping into the next find, pretty standard. I think the woman wanted $30 initially. I offered her $20. She lived really close to me. I only had my eye on one game for 20 bucks, but the rest of them were kind of a nice bonus. So X-Men Legends on PS2. It is Player's Choice or whatever you want to call it. The re-release. Condition, good. Certainly some flaws, but not terrible. This is kind of a fun gauntlet style game. I remember playing quite a bit of it. I think on 360 actually. Final Fantasy X-2. Never played this game. I played 10. 10 was kind of a classic game at the time. Condition's great. Just a little fingerprints there at the corner. Other than that, nice condition. I played 10 a lot. I think these chicks were in 10 as like side characters. I don't remember. I never played the game. Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Not complete. Disc is good enough. Once again, fingerprints on the edge. I can tell that people didn't quite understand how to remove games from the system. This game I actually liked a lot more than Return of the King. The Two Towers. This was a much more standard hack and slash, if you will. Condition's perfect, so I'm going to actually hold on to this game. And then once again, interlaced with like 480p footage from the movies, which at the time was really cool. Nowadays it's kind of laughable, but there's something charming about these movie games because they always add kind of plot content that had nothing to do with the movie just for extra like battle scenes. So it's fun to just go back and play this and watch these guys get into different battles that did not happen in the film at all. Kind of a fun balanced game too. Aragorn was balanced, Gimli was kind of melee centric, and then Legolas obviously was ranged centric. Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy. If I had $1 for every Jak and Daxter game I found at the yard sales, I'd be super rich. I didn't know it was that popular of a series at the time, but the amount of games I see of this series floating around would lead me to believe it's very popular, or it was very popular. Dynasty Warriors 3 does not look right or legit at all, and looks ruined. I might throw this out. Obviously a burned game, unless that's how the game actually looked. It doesn't look right to me at all, but the condition's bad, so I'm probably not going to end up keeping it anyway. A series that had a ton of games. I remember up to like 7. And then the breadwinner of the lot, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. Once again, we have sticker issues, but not a huge deal. Very valuable game. One of my first videos I ever did pointed it out in the background at the local swap meet, and I went back and actually got it. So that was kind of the first time you subscribers saved the day, and you've done it many, many, many times. Easily a $35 game in this condition. The question is, will I keep it? Will I keep any of these PlayStation 2 games? Because this will be my entire collection of PS2 right here. I've said from the beginning I do not want to become Nintendo fanboy again. I want to try to have some diversity in the collection. So this might be a good start to the PS2 collection. And at $20 cash, that's $3 a game virtually. That's fantastic, especially for almost a $40 game right here. That's it. Let's sell some stuff and let's get back out to the hunt. spring is coming, so the yard sales are coming around eventually. Maybe not yet, but eventually they'll come around, I promise.
So let's get involved with a quick sell. Much needed $45 after shipping, added back to the game hunting money. And I need to keep ahead of these sales because we are buying stuff at a rapid rate this month. It's only like mid-February.
All right, another beautiful morning, I guess, of February. Garage selling again. Garage selling's been an abortion for the last month. Since the very first week of January, we found not one item. Fanta, once again, is at a banana grabbing competition out of state, so he'll be wrapping his hands around the biggest bananas he can find. I just got a find at my very first garage sale. Kind of unexciting, so I didn't bother with the spyglasses. An Xbox and an Xbox 360 game. $6 total, $5 for the Xbox One game and $1 for the South Park game. I might play them, I might enjoy them. I don't think I'm going to keep them. I'll probably sell them. But I think I'm definitely going to play that South Park game because it's supposed to be fantastic, at least for a playthrough. It's not going to be anything redeeming replay-wise, but it is backwards compatible. So I'll give that a play. I only started with $30 actually in my wallet. I know I have more than that game hunting money. We have like 50-something, but now I'm down to $24. I can get more money if I find a really good deal, but we'll see if we can I just want to keep picking up these like $1 games. I don't necessarily need a huge lot. Just 4 or 5 good $2, $3 games, and I'll be solid. So I'll bring the spy cam if anything's interesting. If it's shovelware 360 games, I'm not going to spy cam it. It's not worth the hassle. So let's get back out to it. I actually lied, I have a $10 bill.
Okay. You get a 5.
Okay.
Huh? 5? That's for us. 5 for us.
These games are like middle school. Middle school in a nutshell for me. Like sleepovers and stuff from
Oh yeah.
2000.
Dude, this one, I played that thing so much, it was like...
That game was, I remember it came out with the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
These games were fun too, where you just crash cars.
Yeah, this one was awesome. That was like, you sit there with friends, and we didn't even really care who won or who didn't.
You just got in big crashes, right?
Yeah,
that was the whole point.
Try to make the biggest crash you possibly could.
And this
I don't think I ever played that one.
Never played this one. Back when Call of Duty games were good,
mm-hmm.
before it became kind of a mess. This game was fun, but I just played it on PC. I never played it on the system.
Yeah.
All right, dude, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, take care. Have a good one.
You too.
So I finally got on the board. A morning full of Leapfrog and VTech. If there's ever a market for those, I'll literally be a millionaire virtually overnight. My Goodwill, garage sales, swap meet, everywhere it's just VTech. And I always use that as an example. I'm like, well, do you guys have any other old video games? Game Boy, PSP, Sega. No, we just had VTech. Wow, feel awful for your kids. Because, that stuff is saturated everywhere. I'm sure wherever you live is probably comparable. But a big lot of original Xbox games. Nothing expensive at all, but for $5, couldn't go wrong. $5 for 12 games. I've mentioned a bunch of times my desire to collect outside of Nintendo. I have a couple good Xbox games, so now this will be a nice volume to add to it. 3 or 4 games in there I definitely really want to play. And a couple I definitely need to own if I call myself an Xbox collector. Obviously, Crimson Skies, Halo 1, launch. I believe they were both launch titles. If not, they came out really early in the system's life. The Xbox, plain and simple, would not have survived without Halo 1. It would not have. We wouldn't have Xbox One. We wouldn't have had 360. Anything that came out on Xbox would not have come out. So, thanks a lot, Halo 1. And then Halo 2 is obviously probably my most nostalgic multiplayer game. I'll show you guys those in the pickup recap momentarily. and let's hopefully find something else. I doubt it. Let's go. Ho, ho, ho. Let's get involved around the water cooler here with what I'll call it an uninspired day at the garage sales. Not good or bad, just kind of uninspired. I was probably out for an hour and a half total. I almost got a really good deal. I'll talk about that at the end, but it fell through. So I just got some kind of uninspired games, but at a really low cost. So it'll basically be like shelf filler, which is kind of what I'm looking for right now. I am going to add a new bookshelf very soon. So honestly, not a bad day at all. If Fanta came and we split everything, it would probably be a bad day. But since I was alone, I'll consider it decent. The very first finds, 2 games. I just paid the asking price. It was a bunch of like high school kids. $5 for Far Cry limited edition. I don't know what content that came for. Kind of a schlocky, fun, self-aware, goofy game. I played some of this one. I played quite a few. I think it was the 3rd one. Quite a bit of that. Played a lot, have a lot of fun, and then I fart uncontrollably for hours. But not a bad game. Definitely not a bad buy at $5. If I keep them or not, again, I'll definitely play them. I don't know if I'm going to keep them forever, though. New games are kind of value traps, if you will. The value goes down. I don't know what I want to call it. Nintendo stuff's like a safe bet to buy and put on the bookshelf. This newer stuff kind of sucks. But a nice license game here, South Park: The Stick of Truth. It got really good reviews. It's supposed to be really fun, and then it's a quick playthrough, and then you're done. So that's kind of exactly what I'll do. Is I'll do a quick playthrough, sell it at $1. It's definitely not going to be a bad sell. I'll probably get $8, maybe even $12 for it. So not a bad sell. And then again, I'll get the entertainment of playing it. But I don't really plan on keeping these on the bookshelf for any extended period of time. Getting into a lot of Xbox games. I told myself I was going to no longer just pass up stuff. I was going to always prod as far as getting big bundles, because I've missed so many things in the past for no reason. I haven't asked or brought it up. I've just left games sitting there. So today I picked up every single Xbox game this guy had, and I walked up to him and I said, "Would you take $5?" He was asking $1 a piece, which is decent, and he said he would take $5 for all of them. So I got, I think, 12 Xbox games for $5. You guys saw a bit of the spy cam, which is still a work in progress, by the way. I know I'm filming a little off frame with the spy cam. I'm going to have to really train myself to look down. Medal of Honor Rising Sun. Obviously, you fight in the Pacific, Battle of Midway and all that stuff. I prefer European battles for my World War II games. Crimson Skies. I believe this was a launch title with the 360. Kind of 50s vibe going on there. Maybe a Cold War, maybe a World War II even. I played quite a bit of this game. I really want to play it now because I have so much trouble in the damn planes in Battlefield 1. I consider myself really good at Battlefield 1, but when I get in a plane, I become borderline Asperger's. Halo 2 Limited Edition 10, which is the only one I ever see. I never see the real version of this game. I think this limited edition is probably more copies. Comes with the fun, I think there's like a making of disc in the back there. So kind of cool. Nothing too cool, but the 10 is neat when it's not dented beyond belief, which mine already is. Notorious for getting worn to hell. I'll never forget the day I got this in high school, and I almost broke my wrist weightlifting the day Halo 2 came out. I thought I wasn't going to be able to play Halo 2, and I was pondering ways to kill myself. Halo Combat Evolved Game of the Year Edition. Again, I very rarely see the original Halo. I always see the re-release bestseller edition. I mentioned it before, but Halo is the reason Xbox survived. I don't think you can debate that. I guess you could. You could speculate about how they could rework some stuff, but I don't think without Halo, Xbox would have survived ever as a console. So that could be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you look at it. The Sims. If you didn't put your sim in a swimming pool and then remove the little ladder so they swam to death, you were not playing this game right. Or obviously people always built the little walls around their sim and then built no door, so they just got stuck in there to death. unfortunately, that's kind of what my Sims experience devolved into. Probably warning signs of future psychopath behavior. The Incredibles, kind of a schlocky blockbuster case. The instruction booklet's back here for some stupid reason. Blockbuster cases are almost nostalgic to see now. I'm almost happy when I see them, even though I shouldn't be. It's kind of cool to see the safety lock devices they had. There were people, shitheads, that would go into Best Buy or Blockbuster and steal disc out. So they had those little safety locks. Of course, now we just leave the disc in a separate case. Call of Duty Finest Hour. Never played this Call of Duty. I played a bunch of them. I like the Call of Duties a lot, obviously up until about Modern Warfare 3. And then it became kind of frat party bro, quick scope, 420 XD, kids, 360 no scope. Rally Sport Challenge, don't know anything about it, but it's a platinum hit, so it must have sold a copy at least. This one I was really excited to see. Soul Calibur 2, and obviously this game came out with, this was a multi-platform game, but every platform had an exclusive. The Xbox had Spawn. You can see them right there. Gamecube's the one I always see, and that of course had Link. Burnout Revenge. A game where you just literally get rewarded for getting into big car accidents. Every 16-year-old girl actually is an expert at this game, believe it or not. Happily, as I mentioned earlier, we had that ordinance to stop texting and driving. So hopefully that'll prevent some sort of accidents. It amazes me the people that have driver's license, let me leave it at that, especially the 90-year-olds. We just had a guy crash into a store because he thought the brake pedal was the gas pedal. And if you guys recall that episode of South Park, they literally are driving cars in the houses, and I was like, well, this is kind of silly. And then it happened down the street from my house a couple days ago. So unbelievable. Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. I don't know anything about this game. Looks like it's from the prequels. Good condition. There's that little, I don't know what to call that ship, the one that Obi-Wan flies around in the prequels. Good lot. Just kind of, like I said, more or less shelf filler for $5. Definitely a great value, but none of these are worth, I wouldn't even value any of these at $10 on their own. So these will go onto the shelf, and they'll kind of continue the Xbox collection. There are 3 or 4 games in here that are must-owns. Obviously the Halos and that Soul Calibur 2 and Crimson Skies. So these will go onto the shelves. I'm not going to get any resale value out of any of the games. Quick story. So I went to a garage sale. A guy basically said, I'm going to move these really quick. A guy basically said he had just sold Game Boys and Pokemon games, so I was immediately butthurt. I mentioned if he had any more at his house, because it was not at his house, it was at his grandparents' house, which people do that a lot. He said he did at his house. I said, well, cool, what are you collecting for? And he said, mostly Xbox One. So we made a deal to trade this game that I had just gotten for 1 or more Pokemon games at his house. So I was really excited. And then he gave me his number, texted me, the deal was on, and then he just disappeared. And this happens every time. There's an old saying, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the trees. And it's a lesson me and Fanta have learned a lot. Never take people's word for it. Be annoying at garage sales. Get your deal before you get back in your car and leave. Because if you get back in your car and leave, you're not going to get the deal, period, ever. Everyone seems sincere and nice when you're at the garage sale, and then the minute you leave, they kind of forget and stop caring about you. So get the deal. Be borderline intrusive. Get your deal before they run off. Because once you leave, that deal it's done. They are not going to call you back. They're not going to text you back. Leave a comment right now if it has happened for you. I'm sure it's happened for someone in this planet. Leave a comment right now if it has happened for you. But for me and Fanta, it's never happened. Let's continue doing something. I don't know what we're going to do. We still got about a week left in this month, so let's continue on, shall we?
Alright, now let's get a cut off the new game collection to play us out. Start off with all the Nintendo games, which have been kind of circumvented up here at the top. I know that's not the correct use of that word, but it's a joke from Arrested Development. And you can see Mega Man at the top there. As my phone's blowing up, You guys know how I got this game. I got it the other day for $1 at the garage sales. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. It had a clickbait title like rare game found at garage sale, something like that. Anyway, ended up getting it for $1. Amazing find, of course, like a extremely valuable Game Boy Advance game for $1. I'll probably end up keeping it unless I get really hard on cash. But anyway, the Nintendo collection on the top is looking really good. And then I have room kind of for a display game, a game I'll put sideways just for everyone to be able to see what it is. Jumping down to where we added the real meat and potatoes this week. A bunch of PS2 and Xbox games. Nothing of what I would call good value, but definitely a bunch of like $10 games and a bunch of really kind of must-own games. And then there's kind of the valuable game over at the end, Dark Alliance 2. Pretty excited to have that. Pretty fun PS2 game. I'll hold on to that as long as I can. And then down at the bottom, our first kind of system, I guess. We've had a couple Game Boy Advances, but they didn't make it more than a few weeks. If you had money on getting a Super Nintendo Mini as my first system, you would have won like 1 to 8,000 odds, because it's just not a very common system, so it's pretty cool to have on the bookshelf. So we'll get a quick zoom out of the whole collection. Looking pretty good. Definitely not what I would call a collection yet, but a nice compilation of games, if you will. And then jumping back into this once again, we didn't quite hit 750 likes last month. Let's try it again. 750 likes, I will give away these empty boxes down here that have been sitting here randomly. I will pay for shipping. If I get 750 likes, I will do another video and do the giveaway. So just leave a like. We got really close last time. And thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments section how OfferUp is doing in your town. Obviously this was a fantastic month, but it's definitely been hit or miss, and I've heard mostly misses from people. Let me know how OfferUp is in your town. Is it popular? Is it dead? Are the resellers all over? Is there nothing good, just like Craigslist? Let me know. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be back in 1 month's time with another $5 game hunt, $5 game collection, whatever you want to call it. Good luck hunting. Spring is probably the best time of the year. Obviously spring cleaning, and then the weather is pretty nice all over the country. The south we start to get a little warmer, which we don't want, and then obviously in the north it starts to get a little bit warmer, which they do want because it's been frozen all winter. Thanks for watching. I will be back later, everyone.